It's the ledger you found in the trash. It takes about half an hour to piece one together, using the system you've devised. Which one do you want? AKA Leslie and Burke, AKA the public indecency drunk and the property damage drunk, is a cursed case. It has been passed from unsuspecting officer to unsuspecting officer for 10 years. On January 29, the unsolvable case made its way to you. Why you accepted it is unclear. Every officer, and indeed most civilians in Jamrock, know it's unsolvable. Leslie will always take his pants off when he's drunk. Burke will always trash everything. It's just what they do. It is their nature. You cannot change the nature of a man, and you can't lock them away because public indecency and small-scale property damage are not punishable by incarceration. The only way for Leslie to stop flashing his genitals to bypassers and for Burke to stop dismantling signage and rear-view mirrors would be for them to stop drinking alcohol, which in their 40s or 50s, it's hard to tell because of their distorted features, is a medical improbability on par with you ceasing to produce the expression. Threatening fines, dragging them to the station, locking them up in the hellholes they live in, locking them up in the station, hypnotherapy, even trying to get the local gang of Zemyaki to take them out. The Zemyaki gave them ethanol so Burke and Leslie would expose and rampage even harder. You tried it all, and still the complaints wouldn't stop, as they hadn't stopped for 10 years. It's plain to see from the files that you, Satellite Officer JV, and Special Consultant TH had more important cases to attend to. You uncover cross-reference to several ongoing investigations, each brought to a standstill every time you drive down Main Street, because there they are, on the corner of perdition. And what is Leslie doing? Good, you're learning. If the files are to be trusted, that's all there is to it. That and Burke breaking things, and the fact that they're both drunk. But then again, so are you. The case becomes considerably less comic one day when Burke takes a swing at your ledger. He must have it confused with the property he likes to damage. But the joke's on him. You're drunk out of your mind on potent Pilsner. You slam the hardened plastic board in his face. Then you proceed to beat him unconscious with it. In the process, the ledger sustains damage. The compartment within, reserved for permeable documents, is jammed shut. You stop your assault on the now unconscious Burke to open it, but are unable to do so. The officer began to cry, reports Leslie, who at this point is tending to Burke. Kill them. They broke it. He came at us, and at us. I think he was trying to kill Burko. While trying to kill Burko, you slowly come around. The permeables compartment is open. You've smashed it open on poor Burko's kneecaps. The good news is, Burke can't walk anymore. Can't get out of his apartment, an invalid. With Burke to tend to, Leslie cuts back on the indecent exposure. Maybe he flashes his genitals to Burke. Who knows? But both drunks are off the street. The complaints stop. The unsolvable case is solved, which is also why the officer responsible narrowly escapes a disciplinary hearing. The end. Do you want to read another one? It would be very interesting to read about these, wouldn't it? I mean, there seems to be a square-shaped entry wound in the victim's forehead. She's been sitting there for weeks, on her rocking chair, with a square hole in her skull, staring at the wall, her mouth agape. That's all you got. From the half hour you spent piecing it together, all you know is the entry wound was square-shaped. You never found the bullet. And then another body showed up, also with a square hole in his forehead. Who knows? Those pages are missing. What next? Don't worry. One day you may still catch the man with the square gun. Some assholes brought their couch outside and hung out on it. In the middle of the street, on the roof, on the hillside by the motorway. You know, at an unexpected location. They were young, and they thought they looked cool on it. Yes, as you've said here, insufferable rock and roll assholes. Young people are the worst. So anyway, you got a complaint about the damn sofa, or couch, or whatever it was. They were leaving it out in all these unexpected and whimsical locations. They took it to, where they also took photos of themselves on it, and smoked cigarettes, and drank coffee because they felt it's intellectual. Cigarette butts, coffee cups, stupid couch. You had to clean it all up, and you did. So congratulations to you. Case solved. No, you didn't have time for that. These notes show that you have what is called a real goddamn job. You don't have time to be chasing down the couch assholes. You have a real job to do. What next? Murder. Tum tum tum. At the hookah parlor was a case originally assigned to an officer called Joseph Mills, who is now dead, of circumstances completely unconnected to murder at the hookah parlor. Beaten to death by a throng of Villalobos gang members when him and his partner J.M., only initials mentioned, answered a call one night. It's a sad story, and it isn't really represented in your case files. Stop stalling and get to the murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills was on this case that he just couldn't solve, was doing it solo, said it was a real nutcracker, a real brain twister, was on it for, like, a month. The captain got impatient. Shit or get off the pot, Mills. Mills didn't get off the pot, not yet. He kept at it for a couple of weeks more, racking his brains, running with every theory, as outlandish as they seemed. Still couldn't solve the murder at the hookah parlor. Tough case, he said. Toughest he's ever had. No, he was awful. Awful sense of humor, too. The worst jokes you've ever heard. Really rapey. Still, he'd been on it for months now. Said it was the final case. Said it was uncrackable. That murderer vanished into thin air. That goddamn hookah parlor was all he talked about. Okay, so the case is handed to you because Mills isn't getting anywhere, and you look into it. Here's the setup. A young man is found dead in a hookah parlor. You know, those places where you go and smoke bubblegum-flavored vapor all day. Yeah, so anyway, young man in his 20s found with his skull busted open, right on the floor of the hookah parlor. In the middle of the day. No one else is in there. Only client that day. In perfect health, too. Some kind of movie producer. No one enters. No one exits. He's just sucking on his watermelon hookah all morning, all noon, like he usually does. He's a regular. No calls, nothing. Just sucking on the hookah until 15:45. Then bam, he's dead. On the floor with his skull busted open, blood everywhere. What happened? How can it be? Mills has no idea. Invisible assassin, movie deal gone sour. Girl at the counter did it. Nothing fits. Eerie. Man just dropped dead. So you go to the parlor, you see cushions around the table. Table's low, heavy, really sharp edge. See? You can't even read the thing without solving it. Yeah, it was that. Turns out hookah does do something. It turns off your brain's oxygen supply, and you don't notice it until you get up to go to the bathroom. Smoking hookah. Didn't you hear? I don't know. Trying to come up with a movie script, maybe. Anyway, that was murder at the hookah parlor. Joseph Mills wasn't a good detective, and about 30 minutes has passed piecing it together. Next. Not much has changed in the meanwhile. The bow collector. It's early in the morning. The world is dark blue. The sparks light her face, a delicate composition of triangles. The streets seem to grow longer, like in a dolly zoom. And there's something in the air as you stand there and wave back at the shapes growing smaller and smaller. Something that has always been there. A great see-through world. The tenderness you feel. The ghost of Revachol between you, carrying your signals. The holy messenger.
Can I help you?
Got the 20 real?
Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
How could anyone forget, asshole?
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
The bed is still cold from the...
Yes?
okay? The fuck about it? Just a couple of pigs sniffing around in the dip.
Yeah, you tell the faggot.
Your test.
Get lost.
Yeah? The kingdom of Kuno. The fuck do you want with it? Don't be wondering about Kuno's shit, pig. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Why the fuck are you telling this shit to Kuno? Yeah, Kuno doesn't know shit about that. That shit is beneath Kuno. Listen. Kuno doesn't care about this small-time shit. Just listen. Kuno saw what you did there, dumpster diving. Sad shit. Kuno could hook you up with some sweet rags. Shit like Kuno's wearing. Your size, good price. 500 real.
You'd have to be blind not to notice the giant white letters F-A-L-N running down his trouser leg.
Look, Kuno ain't seen shit lying around. Except for that you took away. Now you want performance gear or not, Grandpa?
The lieutenant remains silent, but his expression couldn't say, "I told you so," any louder.
Pig, these are found modulars. Liquid fit, performance crotch, urban survival shit. Made in Mirova by scientists. Pants scientists. Believe it, you need this shit.
These could drastically improve your chances of survival in the urban wilderness. Coach Physical Instrument endorses these pants. They are tartan ready. They will also make you into an idiot.
Alright, Pico, shit's rolling.
Don't do business with the pig, Kuno. He's gonna steal all your money, Kuno.
As you can see, Kuno and C don't trust you. Can't do business without trust.
There's more to his distrust than being a pig. He feels threatened by something obscure in you. What that is, however, remains a puzzle for now.
Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. Kuno doesn't fucking care.
The display rack is brimming with worn paperbacks featuring an extremely muscular, sword-wielding barbarian on the cover. Nearly all the titles contain the word Heimdall somewhere. Rows and rows of Heimdall men blur your vision. You make out some titles. Man from Heimdall and the Mammoth Riders. Man from Heimdall, Return to Heimdall. And the solipsistic Man from Heimdall and the Heimdall Man. Maybe 100. Man from Heimdall and the sages at the end of the world. Man from Heimdall and the false god. Man from Heimdall and the scorched earth. Man from Heimdall, the Heimdall colonies. Man from Heimdall and the swamp beast. Man from Heimdall and the snow crabs. Those snow crabs are worse than they sound. The display rack before you is burdened under piles of Man from Heimdall novels. A twinge at the back of your head makes you flinch. Your eye starts twitching. Your hand reaches toward a book with glossy cover art of the very muscular Man from Heimdall in chains, kneeling in front of a staircase leading to a throne. A woman sits on the throne, leering at the man. She's laughing at him, belittling him. Between the throne and the Hyundala man lies a bonfire, casting shadows on the wall. The shadow of the woman's headdress looks like a pair of devil horns. The title reads, Man from Hyundala and the Devil Woman. The display rack before you is burdened under piles of Man from Hyundala novels. A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise. An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Katawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a Pick Your Path adventure game book titled Tales of Wirral, Cavern of Velkrag. Books in a board game section? Who wants to read books? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplements Module. The side panel notes, a fantastique adventure board game, new maps and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 real. That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition Mega Setting Supplement, so it makes sense.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure, or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Browbritter is a fun game of economic competition, but can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children.
Who are you going to play board games with? Do you have friends or family? Are you actually friends, or just colleagues thrown together by circumstance?
Friends are technically like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 real. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. Personally, I don't like it. Not at all. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels.
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out. You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
Crime fiction. Is it these books? What's more, not a single mention of all the stress you see Dick Mullen on the job. Get Me Mullen. The Stalwart Adventures of Richard P. Mullen. Dick Mullen and the Murder in the Orchard. The Sordid Affair of Dick Mullen. A killing is declared. Dick Mullen in the murder house. The final case of Dick Mullen. An obvious lie. Dick Mullen in the clock tower. The ordeals of Dick Mullen. Dauntless Dick. Dick Mullen's funeral pyre. The murder of Dick Mullen. Yes, there's also the dame who did it. Farewell, my Mullen. Faking death seems to be a common trope in the Mullen series. The morbid tales of Dick Mullen. A dark tide turns. Tragedy calls for Dick Mullen. Another one with fake death. And, of course, Dick Mullen, the murderer. In order to catch a murderer, Dick Mullen must become the murderer. After all this, you still haven't found the answer to the one question that matters. Who is Dick Mullen? Your quick eye notices a small caterpillar crawling across the spine of a book. The title reads, Dick Mullen and the Mistaken Identity. A worn paperback from Dick Mullen's classic Hard-Boiled Phase. The premise seems to be that Dick Mullen is framed for the murder of his best friend and has just a few days to prove his innocence. Could it be the motifs of unstable identities and shocking betrayals? Perhaps you're drawn to the dark and noirish atmosphere. Is it because the smoking dame in the slinky red dress on the cover is giving you a hard-on? Yeah, this is the book for you. See the way she's suggestively holding that pistol? That's symbolism. Several maps have been attached to a bulletin board hidden inside the alcove. They're held up by small pins. The board has come loose from one corner. The maps look old and faded. Your eye catches a map of Insulinda, a map of Revachol, and a map of Martinez. This large map displays archipelagos. You see a constellation of small dots on the light blue emptiness of the Insulindic Ocean. The largest in the northeast is La Caillou. You are here. Another far away in the southwest, Seminese Islands, Ile de Fantôme. Ozon, Laurentide, Fas à la Mer, Archipelagos, North Arcade Islands, all just specks of dust on the vastness of the Insulindic. On the edges of the map, the color fades into a blur of dotted lines, black and white. Disintegrating into mathematics. In the northeast, a dust mite stands on the north coast of Caillou in a bookstore. It's you. Radiating outwards from you, the suzerain Revachol. With a radius of 80 kilometers, still, the crown jewel of this Isola would be barely visible. You can, on Caillou, Revachol, a single black star, on Ozon, Fondelier, and Vilmandu, on archipelagos, Croyan Moran, Villiers, on Seminine, Olduvai, and on Laurentide, Deora of the Seven Seas. 850 million people live on these little dots, an oceanic world of culture and commerce torn apart by history. The ocean breaks apart into a tangle of cosines and azimuths, all pointing into pale nothingness. Mwindi is the north azimuth. Grad is the northeast azimuth. Samara is the east azimuth. Seo is the west azimuth. Isolas, they're called. Connections to other worlds, words past the Insulindian, unknown to you. You only know you've never been there. You have little idea what they are. Distant stars, gods, but looking at them makes you feel almost non-existent. Whatever they are, the Isolas are immeasurably large compared to you, and very, very far away. Perhaps they are gods, gods of distance and outer dust. The north coast of a verdant island is shattered by the delta of a river. It is the River Esperance. Countless bridges put the shards back together, connecting city blocks to river islands. La Delta says a great artificial heart in the center, teeming with life forms and construction. To the east, rolling hillsides, Le Jardin, Stella Marie, the suburbs of Saint-Baptiste, swallowed up into the megacity. They sound rich to you. This is Revachol East. Hudon, it's somewhere to live. Not bad. Then there's Jamrock. It's bad. People shouldn't live there, but they do. Then Forberg. It's almost as bad and much larger. Then Coal City. It's the worst. It's so small you can't even see it on the map. No, wait. There it is, north of Jamrock, the strip of coast next to the Greater Rivershell Industrial Harbour. It looks downright despondent. It's almost Coal City, to be honest. No, Coal City is worse. A charred limb. Rain falls on its slick black streets. And then there's the burnt-out quarter in the heart of Jamrock. Is it cold in this bookstore? Or is it just you? No, this is somewhere to be. This is all you have. But it's still something. Streets and sodium lights, the sky, the world. You're still alive. It's not really a map. It's a tourist thing. A picture postcard with buildings on it, drawn from an isometric perspective. A date in the upper right corner says 48. Still, it's detailed. Could be pretty useful for scouting ahead. You see the jagged boxes of an industrial harbour, even the whirling in rags there.
I'm sorry, officer. The map of Martinez is the only one available. The other two are not for sale anymore. And besides, you could scarcely afford them. They're quite valuable, though they might not look it. The map of Martinez is 90 cents, though. That old thing. It's an out-of-date map of a tourist location that never was nor came to be. From when some design studio people tried to spruce the place up 4 or 5 years ago. They also renovated the horse statue, set up those coin-operated viewers, and designed the new street lamps.
The place does not look like a successful tourist trap, does it?
They didn't get that far, for some reason. A shame the project never got going. Would be nice if someone fixed Martinez up. All these ruins are bad for business. Always good to be informed of your surroundings.
This bookstore is not amidst the various... These three things, the point of the book, and various paranatural shelves full of biographies of...
I would say... The Greatest Innocence. Yes, most certainly. It's an important educational tool delving into the depths of history, religion, and their relation to innocentic power. A very influential historical figure, but surely I don't have to tell you that. You're a law officer, and law officers have at least some education. The book is also very daring. The author aims to re-examine the universal understandings of the innocentic system, creating a fresh vantage point and a shift in the tired order of things. Perhaps for a layman, deep analysis is necessary to peel back the multi-layered meanings.
Do her words seem vague and abstract to you?
Certainly, it's prudent for a person to have at least an elementary understanding of history and society. Imagine the chaos we'd be in otherwise.
You feel like you should get this one. Definitely. It's important somehow. There's something personal inside. The worn map features the patchwork grid of the streets of Martinez, with directions to appropriately touristy locations. Year 48 resides on the upper right corner. Your finger moves through the various streets, across Rue de Saint-Ghislain and Rue Saint-Sipar, over Saint-Brun and Martinez North, finally coming to a halt on the spot where you are currently standing. Although the map gives no such indication itself.
For a more detailed view of the map, go to your journal and select the Map tab.
face of King Fleece. Unsurprised, you skim that. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer. The thus they is. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The tape, comrade, but only so please. If you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contempt, you flip back to the front of the magazine. You take the legal documents at the youth center, cuts the youth center, the youth. It's the ledger you found in the trash. An alum, a bunch of sodden papers, sag, arson, petty theft. You don't exact arson. You don't exactly. It takes about half an hour to piece. Not much is thin, see-through copy of paper. Mostly a dozen pages of thin copy paper. The rest of the stinkins, the acidics, you know, like the bits they put into public piss. If you knew it was done, torturing your nose is somewhere between. The worn and beaten wooden plank.
You can revisit.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. Arson, petty theft. The notebook is annual. It's
That's a lot. That's okay.
like a fan of girls. The checkered papers dry in your hand. You don't exactly close them. It's made of dark blue, something and some permeables. The plastic shimmers like lapis lazuli, but something and some permeables. It's not hidden per se. The plastic shimmer with your hands. You four-sized pages hang from the clip, screwed to the top of. It takes about half an hour to. This one, cause of the mural. True, people call it the graffito crew. Is easy to track down. The crew agree. The 9,000 people subjected to the mural, a staggering 78. Did anyone ask you what you believe in? Not much is.
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation. Ah, yes. The night before I saw you in the hallway and reminded you you're a police officer. There was the usual ruckus, loud disco music. I can't say. Probably not. Sounded like you were flying solo. Oh, yes. Various artists. Ostentatious orchestrations prime among them.
Oh, that. Yeah. Whoa. The less said about OO, the better.
OO were huge where I come from. I was very young then, of course, like 7. Life gets hard, but we go on. It would appear so. At around 2 o'clock, the disco stopped and there was a change of pace. A slow, sad song started playing, like organ music on repeat. That went on for quite a while. Some of that time you were yelling along to it. That it doesn't matter anymore and that we're alone now. It was difficult to tell. The song itself was very quiet and soft, but you sounded like a wounded boar, sir. It was hard to understand what you were singing on top of it. Then you started screaming and trashed the place. No, it didn't sound like there was a fight. It sounded like someone was trashing their room. A window was smashed, the tape player probably, the song stopped. And furniture too. A real destructathon. There was screaming. Then I think you passed out. There was. I think you screamed that you didn't want to be this type of animal anymore. I may have misheard, but it was sort of memorable. I went out afterwards. Everything was quiet by then. Around 4 or 5. And that was it. No problem, sir. Sure. The record. So official. I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking part in a murder investigation. Sure. The record. So official. Not my favorite topic, but okay. I'm sorry, I can't do it. No. How about we, change...
You sit on the wind-worn wooden planks of the bench. Your feet ache. Time passes. The sun draws ever closer to the horizon. The sky The bed is still cold from the broken window, and not too inviting, but it's yours. You've earned it. The bed is still cold from the wind blowing in from the broken window. The mattress creaks as you close your eyes and try your hardest to fall asleep.
Here we are again, my broken bird. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself. You're not cooperating, brother man. It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep, you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety. But you cannot, because of the pain.
That pain in your right side is your enlarged liver, by the way. As for your kidneys, you've really been compounding the damage lately. But this suffering, it must have some kind of meaning. A story that will come out of it. Perhaps even a story that you will write yourself.
Now you've gone off the rails, baby. Now you're stuck sitting here by the tracks, admiring the wreck around you. You just can't help it, looking at yourself. The sum total of your accomplishments. You're just stuck here, in the half-world. Could try looking at other people, really looking. But why would you want to start doing that? How many promises have you kept lately, Sir Harry? To the great see-through world. The tenderness.
Thou art honorable and just, sire. 'Tis the snakes who are vile, hissing in the grass.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights, blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.
Hello, officer? What brings you? Not my favorite topic. I'm sorry, I can't. How about we...
rusting control panel. You grab the handle and pull the lever up. As soon as the metal connects against the contact pins, you hear a loud clunk. Then, the water lock starts moving.
All right, we can go to the coast now. Expect rugged terrain and drunks. And if you wanted to forge that document for Everard, now you can.
A banged-up motor carriage lies half-submerged in the icy water, slowly sinking into the Insulindian Ocean. Only the cabin top, rear wheels, and the engine remain visible. It must be cold and lonely down there in the icy water. The seawater has already started to corrode the metalworks. Remember the tire tracks in Martinez? This is where they were leading.
It appears to be so. I agree. We should definitely investigate.
You get a sudden, sinking feeling. Stomach acid comes up as you look at the motor carriage in the deep, dark, cold water. The logo is too deep in the murky water. You can't make it out, but you do see a monkfish float by. The motor carriage is properly stuck in the ice. Getting it out would require a team of specialists. A single day in the salty seawater would ruin most vehicles, but this one looks worn even in places the salt water hasn't touched it.
The ice hasn't closed around the vehicle yet. My guess is it's been here since last Saturday or Sunday.
The estimate is correct. The incident probably occurred on Sunday evening. Your mocking tone finds no response, but the motion of the waves.
Yes, quite. Let's wait for the low tide and see what's inside.
Great idea. Then we can get the things inside. The joyrider must have left something good inside. Guns, papers, maybe a cool jacket.
I don't know. An hour or two, tops?
As you sit down in the old, rusty playground, the world around you becomes very silent. The hinges creak under your weight, dangerously so. Nothing but the sound of seagulls high above in the sky, echoing like distant laughter. Ice cracks around the blue motor carriage in the sea. Spit flies from your mouth to your moustache, your chest, the ground before you. No sound, though. The lieutenant must think it's rather funny. He smiles and quickly turns away. With his lips puckered, the lieutenant lets out a beautiful, melodic trill that puts even the insulindic thrush to shame. You hear the sound echo on the large body of water. Clouds race across the spring sky, and suddenly you just feel better about everything. Okay, that's way better than what you did. The clouds pass in the sky, and the shadow of the swing moves like the hour hand on a timepiece. 30 minutes have passed. Looks like this might take a while. Time to present a good topic for discussion.
Well, historically, leeches have been used to prevent and even cure many ailments.
Okay, he's thinking. I can do this. Let's do this. Who'd want to sit on an anthill? There are no therapeutic benefits to, well, napalm ants, for example, are used in some rites of passage rituals. Clouds on the horizon grow darker, and the shadow of the swing set keeps climbing. You hear the distant rumble of the city. 30 minutes pass.
God, I hope so.
Your voice echoes on the water, strange and out of place in the environment. 30 more minutes pass.
Detective, I've been able to make out the mark ever since we arrived. I find it odd that you haven't. It's a Coupris, Model 40.
Yes. Why haven't you?
It is a simple and rugged machine, favored by working men, government offices, firefighters, animal control people, you know, those kinds of people. Yes, 41. What do you think it stands for?
It's as if he knows what it stands for, but wants you to say it. It's pedagogical. Does he know something about the driver of this vehicle?
I'm sorry, Harry. I'm so sorry.
41. Precinct 41. A massive pit opens up in your stomach, and the most terrible feeling comes over you. Oh God, Harry. Oh God, Harry. What did you do? No. Just nope. Say no to this, Harry.
I'm afraid so, yes. It looks like you started in front of the whirling, jumped over the canal, and then drove your vehicle in the sea right here.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and doesn't say anything. There is also a fourth thing you've lost. More precious than the gun, the badge, and the motor carriage combined. Lost forever into the deepest of seas.
Of whom? I don't think so. If anything, you were probably drunk. Detective, we don't. A rescue operation really isn't viable at this point. That is very unlikely. All the electrics are toast. That goes for the electromagnetic steering and brake systems as well. You'd be lucky to find one undamaged component in there. In a few months, there will be nothing but rust left of this vehicle. It'll be cheaper to buy a new one. Well, not cheaper. This motor carriage costs 40,000 real. But in the long run, it still makes more sense to buy a new machine than try to refurbish this. Let's face it, this is a substantial loss to your district's budget. I mean, my station only has 4 other vehicles in addition to my kinema.
This was 20% of the station's vehicular budget.
People are more valuable than machines. Training a police officer is even more costly.
People, yes, but not you.
I'm afraid it will have to be there like that for many years. Look at it. Parts of it might be salvageable, but overall, this machine is a write-off. Yes, let's go take a look. Yes?
A police badge on which you see the photo of a man. You. Some seaweed is stuck to the back.
At least something good came out of all this.
Encased between two durable plastic sheets is a bluish card with lines of information and a watermark in the shape of the street grid of Revachol West. You see a photo, a name, a rank, a document number, the date of issue, and, in the lower right corner, your precinct. The man keeps winking at you with his green-grey eyes. The photo is old, no doubt about that, but the badge is new. You used an old photo for a new badge. 8, maybe 10 years. The guy in the picture is rather good looking. He's got a nice haircut and is distinctly lacking in massive sideburns. What do you think? His face is already contorted by the expression, although it looks less grotesque on him than it does on you now. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information on it, and a shining watermark.
Harrier. That's long for Harry. So you are Harry. Evrard was half right. Probably not a lot of people know your full name. Whoever told him you're Harry Dubois didn't. It's a wartime name. Revolutionary. The kind mothers give their sons during troubled times, like Undying or Boxer or Ironhide.
A name like armor.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, Harrier Dubois.
The badge in your hands shines as you rotate it, catching light. You see lines of information.
Lieutenant W. Freighter. The lieutenant is a rank above sergeant and below captain. It's the highest rank in the RCM that still does field work. I am a lieutenant. The title of Freighter is added to your rank when you decline a promotion to a higher rank. In your case, captain. You have declined twice, thus you're double Freighter. There are many reasons one would do this. The rank above you in your precinct's décomptage might be taken, or sometimes promoted officers do not want to replace their superiors, out of respect. And sometimes they just prefer the type of police work available to their current rank, in your case, lieutenant. Décomptage is the hierarchical system employed by the Revachol citizens' militia. It means counting down to twos.
The countdown is modeled after the dual leadership system employed by the left during the revolution, which in turn was developed by last-century experimental psychologists in the University of Königstein.
The lowest rank is junior officer, usually teenagers. Then there are the patrol officers, then sergeants, lieutenants, then a captain. That's basically it, except for a few kings. Kings like satellite officers and the additional freighter rank I already explained. No, I've been putting up with you because despite an unconventional approach, you are doing good police work. It matters more than driving your motor carriage into the sea. And now we've even found your badge.
He trusts you, for now. Try not to spoil it. The countdown.
The lowest rank kings like satellite officers, you are given the title of satellite officer if your partner is quickly promoted through the ranks and you rise with him. You don't seem to be a satellite. My pleasure. Yes, apparently you've had a rather successful career in the past, and this leads me to believe maybe your current situation is only temporary. Good.
Such a small yet precious thing. Expensive paper caught between thick plastic, like a fly in amber. It reads.
That's just the serial number. Revachol, Jamrock, Precinct 41, with some numbers thrown in there for good measure.
The numbers are not there for good measure. They have an administrative purpose, one that's unfortunately been erased from your memory.
4 months ago. I'm guessing that's when you were promoted to the rank of Lieutenant W. Freighter. A new badge usually comes with a new rank. You seem to have been doing well then.
You're pretty sure you weren't doing well, but better? Probably yes. A lot can happen in 4 months, especially in winter. The winters are never easy on you. Of that you are sure.
Yes, it's the designation of your precinct. 41. Like mine says 57. The 57th is mostly industrial harbor. A lot of asphalt. The 41st is... It's a tough station to work in. You have all of Jamrock to cover. That district should have 3 precincts, but money is what it is. But then again, it's a legendary district, and a hell of a station too. It must be an honor and a curse to work with people like Price, McCoy, Berdiaeva,
Roberts, Feuerbach, Dimitri. Suddenly, names from your decomptage flash in your forebrain. He knew all those people, although they're not from his station. They must be big. The badge in your hand shines as you rotate it. This is it, the scene of the party, the fire pit, cigarettes, and empty bottles all evidence it. Looks like they were here a while, judging from all the bottles. The sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose ice sculpture or a chocolate fountain.
Looks like it. Hey, let's keep moving, detective.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Sorry, sir. I still haven't heard back from the database people. Try calling again later. Is there anything else? Just a moment.
10-4, come in, officer. 10-4, sir. Glad to hear that. I'll write down that there is no need to issue a new one to you then. Over. Roger that. 10-10, over and out.
As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the large orange sector, indicating the engine is warm. Next to the gauge is a red switch labeled heat.
Now, that's enough fun with the foldable headlights. I know they are mesmerizing. They are also fragile. I'm not going to turn it on for you again.
Rust peels off the bent iron posts of the swing. The wind whistles through the skeleton of the small house behind you. There's desolation everywhere.
In this yard?
He's assessing the situation. How long ago was it abandoned?
Someone thought they could have a summer house in a bloc obscur, for cheap. It didn't work out. They abandoned it about a decade ago. A black bloc, a part of the city left unrenovated after the war, or one that has fallen to gang violence, or has become inhospitable in some other way.
On aerial photos, block obscures look like dark squares, hence their name.
Practically, it's not an official term in any way, but look around. No sewage, broken power lines, crime, drunks. Life is tough in the blocks. It's no place to build a summer house. Yes, for you to scavenge like a post-apocalyptic scavenger who collects trash and errant magnesium blisters.
It's not meant as nagging, just an observation.
We should move. I don't think we will solve the murder with forays into the urban hinterland, at least in this phase of the investigation.
Great news. The boat is big enough for a grown man like you to fit underneath it in a supine position. Huh?
Sarcastic self-pity is not what we need at this moment, officer. I understand the situation looks grim, but we must continue with our investigation.
You have a home somewhere. All cops do. When this is done, you can return.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with? The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions. What are the other ones? Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. I sell the fish to people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Authentic insular Indian cuisine. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her.
Wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
Well, you're barking under the wrong tree then, officer. I have no interest in floaters. Seen enough of them in my life already. Very unattractive bunch. Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks mostly. It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation. From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Gone.
The harbour seawall endures the wash of the freezing waves. Many things wash up against it and onto the beaches of Rivershop. Some inanimate, some just no longer alive. You shudder.
To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago. He didn't respect the sea. Went out there, drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles. Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she's ready to go on a date with another, better, drunk. Ask her. Both of you could need some action.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate? Aha! Like snowmen. 2 odd guys have been wandering around here, nose in sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like. I don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. I mean, that's where they were heading. Who else are you looking for besides snowmen? Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Sure is. The sun, I call her, coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue. Aye. Sunny days. You got a problem with that?
No, ma'am. We have no quarrel with sunny days.
Good. It would have been bad news had it turned out it wasn't a sunny day. Bad news for the skiff, bad news for the nets, bad news for the kids.
There's a moment's silence. She looks at the slushy snow melt on the yellow belly of the boat.
Go right ahead.
You're not sure about the melody, but it might be South Samaran, possibly Sigayan, also known as the apricot suzerainty.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts.
Then how does she know you're here?
Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here. And we don't want any trouble either.
We are not here to cause any trouble, madame.
Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinez, you're considered an ill omen. No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. One of them killed another, locked himself in that woodshed over there. He was brooding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place, somewhere more quiet.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat.
Oh, the usual. Dark tidings. Black hound.
That's you, all right. A black hound licking your own heels.
Maybe they are afraid, because you're an ill omen. But you're still welcome here, as long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then, because that's the kind of fishing village we've built. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage, and not a lot of houses, or a lot of people. My kids are long gone, searching for treasure. So are others. Ah, look at me ramble on. What brings you to us? Stay? Most people here are trying to leave. That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shack. I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM. No one is using it, and God knows it's not much anyway. You can stay there. Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the police.
Well, if you are not in the hostel in the morning, I'll know where to find you. Here, in a shack.
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time, even. Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then.
So, they don't hold services there anymore? The Ecclesiastes?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church. Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty. I don't know exactly. A pre-war place. It used to be something. Before the war. I wasn't here then, you know. Was born in Samara. Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk. But it's closed. What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Land's End. Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible.
And now you know everything there is to know about this coast. Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr. Quite a handle you got there. So many titles. One of them double. Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist. This is pretty much a non-place. A gap. A blank spot on the map. Just a cluster of nameless shacks on a nameless street.
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny.
Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east. But they're away right now. And then there's the drunks. Not a pretty sight, but there's little we can do about it. Home is home, even for them. Lillian is tough. Tougher than the men here, at least. If it wasn't for her and the kids, this place wouldn't have a spark of life left. Sooner or later, you'll see for yourself. Don't have to look long to find these guys. Over there, you can find more of the same. Shacks and trees growing wild. That's the pox.
Between here and Jamrock, a dusty sea of old trees, all covered in industrial soot. Small houses under them, an overgrown park.
An old military hospital and its surroundings. Or it used to be, during the time of the suzerain.
The old woman shakes her head slowly. She drops the rag into the bucket. It's clean now.
Now the area is crisscrossed with nameless streets and makeshift cinder block houses, shacks as far as the eye can see. The goodwill ran out. The staff left and the place was shut down. It's long gone by now. Here, for you, no officer. The only money we have here is some coins the drunks tried hiding from their women and then forgot about.
She nods, rinsing another piece of cloth. The door has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea. Even the lock looks slightly rusted. The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. This one doesn't say anything, kicking the concrete with his worn-out sneaker.
Lily's our mum.
The stone kicker laughs suddenly. His head is too large for his shoulders. The other one laughs as well. Wow, so intellectually stimulating.
Hello, mister.
She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally, she twirls it around.
Yes. They don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart. Lammy tells them apart. Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom? That's nice. My mom is great. She's never angry or anything. It's Lammy! He's my friend. Sort of. Like...
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that, admittedly, has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts.
Lammy usually doesn't like strangers. But you're also fuzzy, like Lammy. It's a grouse!
Wasn't Gar, the cafeteria manager, trying to repair a piece of taxidermy?
I don't know. Sure. Just go and get it. I don't like it anyways.
All right. You just need to grab it from the ceiling and go.
Bye!
Good to see you, friend. Do I have deals set up for you, buddy boy?
Does he actually know you? Or is he just shopkeep friendly?
So what do you want? I got smokes. They're cheap. Very cheap. I got Pilsner. Great deal. You won't get a better deal on that piss. Spirits I can let go for 300 real. I also have speed. And by speed, I mean amphetamine. Oh. The system's been good to old Rosemary here, and I'm milking her like a bitch goat in the backyard. You see, friend, man makes his own luck, and I made mine real good. Got my hands on 3 bottles of liquor exquise, sold 2 to the fellows around here, and immediately invested the profit. Bought cigarettes, bought beer, even bought a bit of speed. And look at me now, I got everyone on my hook.
The hook? Where is it? I can't see it.
Of course, of course, of course. It is what it is, you know. What it's always been. People, buddy boy. It's the people.
He has long forgotten what you were talking about.
Aye, by amphetamine I mean speed. Aye, that's what I said. Good, my man. Now what can I offer you? Sure, friend, you know it.
Don't mind old Rosemary here. He's a buffoon. Let's have a word after your high-concept transactions. I'll give you the lowdown.
In the civilized world, it's a custom to tip the shopkeep, friend. But come back anyway.
Hey, Tequila! Good to see you. How's business? How's the whole reality situation treating you? So what's happening? Yeah, Tequila Sunset. How are the, high-concept, reality-based adventures proceeding?
He says it like it's obviously your name. Like you call someone Billy Brunel or leader of the 4th Street Gang. Good. These people know your true name. Looks like it has preceded you, Mr. Sunset. More on that later.
That's the spirit. I used to shape reality into my image, long time ago. Those days are over now. Sadly, things aren't going that well in Idiot Doom Spiral Land. Haven't found those keys yet, haven't won that great piece of ass back. No word from my business buddies.
immediate doom spiral, huh? This is bound to be a good, high-concept conversation. At last.
It's you. You're Tequila Sunset. We've met before. Don't you remember?
No, you sure don't.
Aha. Do you want to know how Tequila Sunset came to be?
Tequila. Tequila Sunset. Something ominous there.
Mm-hmm. Let me take a sip to moisten up my chords. Tequila Sunset rolled into Martinez last Friday, and by Tequila Sunset, I mean you. The man, the myth. Hey, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. This is your story. Stop interrupting. You got here on Friday to solve a case, hoping to be the early bird who gets the worm. And by the worm, I mean the buzz. Because as far as I know, all you did was get pissed drunk. Word on the street is you went around the local hostel telling people that you're a police officer, and that it would be really fucked up if you shot yourself in the head right in front of them. That's pretty high concept, if you ask me.
It is. The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He's listening as casually as he can.
It was a late Saturday night when we, the Union of Moribund Alcoholics, were getting our drink on. Nothing remarkable about this. We get our drink on 24/7. Makes everything warm and glowy. I trust you know the feeling. One moment we hear the sound of a motor carriage revving up somewhere on the plaza, followed by a series of dings and bangs.
Do you remember the sound of wood cracking? The billboard?
Naturally, loud noises pique the interest of anybody owning a pair of ears. That's just the reality we're in. Anyway, there was a brief silence, a gasp of silence, if you will, followed by a real commotion. We heard the carriage careening towards the coast at top speed. Sounded like someone jumped the canal. We grabbed our brewskis and rushed to the jetty. Never underestimate the speed of an alcoholic.
3 men are standing on a wooden platform extending out from the shore of a dilapidated fishing village. Their cheeks red, spirits high, beers in hand, eyes glazed over.
What we saw was a sight to behold. A beat-up police carriage containing you. Right there on the beach. You revved the engine and screamed at the top of your lungs, "The time hath come!" So, naturally, being the curious cat I am, I asked what time hath come. "The time hath come for Tequila Sunset, the end of all things!" Your reality contracted. You jammed the pedal, plowed right off the jetty, and through the ice. We ran towards the ice, whilst you crawled your way out, miraculously unhurt, covered in seaweed and shit, like some kind of sea monster. When we finally got there, you were sitting on the beach crying. You said that your badge and uniform were in the car. It was too late to get in there, though. The carriage had sunk too deep. Recognizing a brother in need, we offered our condolences and invited you to party with us, which you naturally agreed to. We asked about the whole Tequila Sunset thing, and you told us it was your name now and insisted that we all call you that from then on. Yeah, I agree. Hours. It was an all-night drink-a-thon. Then, at some point, I think it was Sunday morning, you got belligerent and wanted to talk about Revacholian women. How they're beautiful and also whores and so on. How one of them fucked you real bad. After a short while, you crossed the event horizon, looked sullen, got up, and left without saying anything.
Wow, that's quite a story.
Yeah, I bet Tequila's a fucking legend around the precinct. You must be proud to work with him.
If you only knew.
Beside your gun and your badge, you said something about your hope or heart or something. To be honest, the details are a little hazy. In retrospect, I guess you lost your motor carriage too? That's a big one. You were pretty vague about it, but you kept saying you got fucked real hard, and that we've all been fucked too.
Please, don't open that door.
No one's fucked me. I do the fucking around here. Abigail.
It seemed pretty painful, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, I'd say you're still working through some shit. You told us that they were a bunch of fucking losers whose main interest was cramping your style. No specifics, though. It was more about you that night. You were the star of the show. Yeah, you said it was no biggie and that you'd solve it in no time. And that you didn't need anyone to do it. You're doing it solo now.
A lot of cops go solo and hermit once they reach that level of alcoholism.
Yeah, you said that it was okay that you crashed your carriage because the spectral hand of the market was guiding you. This was before you started talking about how the Pinkies were always trying to fuck you. You kept apologizing for being such a bad cop and for the damage you inflicted on everyone around you. You also kept pausing to knock the heel of your hand against your temples, saying, "Stupid, stupid, stupid." It's a hard thing for a man to confront his past. That's why I avoid mine at all costs. We are saving the world.
Please don't go.
Okay, we're drinking. We're drinking alcohol. That's what we're doing. I tried to save the world once, a long time ago, with enterprise, creativity, and willpower. But that didn't work out. So now, it's a pirate's life for me. Whoop-de-doo. So now I'm a fucking storyteller. Right, why not? Better than a beach bum. It depends, really. Are you willing to help me out?
You might get scammed here.
No, the reality of the situation requires a rather modest contribution. A little motivational package. Booze! Did you already forget our party? The thing I relayed to you earlier. So, have you got anything for good old idiot Doom Spiral? A bottle for a story. Seems fair to me. In that case, I'm not a storyteller. You too, Tequila Sunset.
The legend returns. You know the dance. Smokable smokes, pissable pilsner. Drink it, then convert it to piss. See, friend, it's real valuable. Worth every real, if you catch my drift. Got it from a bit of a business venture. You know, it's funny, actually.
He's finding it difficult to focus his watery gaze.
What?
Keep him talking.
This guy. Oh, this is medicinal spirits. The good stuff. Got it from the doctor's office. I got one of those scientific ampules a few months ago. Torpedo, they call it. It's supposed to keep a man from taking a drink. Didn't stop me for shit, that's for sure. 5 lemons with half a pack of butter and you're good to go. It really isn't. In a week, the goddamn kidneys started giving me all kinds of help. Finally, the missus took me to a private doctor's office. Not a charity, the real thing. Those arseholes charged me 4 real to remove the damn thing. But I came out on top after all. The idiots left me alone in there. Now, I used to teach high school biology. I know what doctors use to preserve dead thingies. It's like 3 cans of this blue medicinal stuff from the back room. Threw the snakes out and voila! What's left is this beautiful blue stuff. 98.7% almost pure alcohol. 2 I already sold to these fine gentlemen here. But this last one is yours for 3 real, if you want it.
Don't say it.
Yeah, be careful. It's extremely flammable. One spark and the entire city of Revachol is wiped off the map.
Feels like someone set a mustard field ablaze right inside your nose, then drenched it in tear gas. Your nose is a singular source of pain, but at the same time you don't remember the last time you felt so alive. In all fairness, that might be attributed to the retrograde amnesia.
So, what's the deal, friend? Want the spirits or not? 3 real and it's yours, friend. The deal of a lifetime.
Well done. You got it. That's a much more reasonable price right there. Makes sense now.
Just make sure to enjoy that one, friend.
If you drink this, then you'll die. That's a fact. And that's why we're going to save you from yourself and store this as a sellable item. Go sell it at the pawn shop for a profit. The noxious odor emanating from the drunken man is strong and familiar.
Don't you call her? Yeah! Don't call Abigail! Abigail. Don't you fucking call Abigail.
You're not going to get anything out of this guy. He's too drunk.
Don't call Abigail.
Heavy wooden doors, more than twice your height, stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears in stark contrast to the padlock, carelessly drilled into the wood. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow. The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. The doors remain unchanged, closed, with a padlock. The carving on the surface is smooth from the wind, but moist to the touch. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. The curve makes it smile, and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. He takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies.
No. Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency. For Revachol aussi, the moral intern defines junior delinquents as minors between the ages of 10 and 16 who have committed an act in violation of the law. These acts aren't called crimes as they would be for adults. Crimes committed by minors are called delinquent acts. This was part of your officer's exams. I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth.
This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow. The padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not a screw at all, but a nail. The work has been done recently and is unprofessional, to say the least. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to just pry the whole thing off. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily. It'll be easier to break the staple than the lock. Also, that sticker is interesting, somehow. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Looks like today was a gold star day. Nothing happens, only the sound of the padlock rattling against the door.
I don't think that's going to work.
High above, the wind wraps the church in its rush, cold and wet from the ocean bay. It parts around the massive keel-shaped roof, like a test tunnel washing both sides, the way it has done for 340 years. The wind keeps its distance, so should you.
There is a hole in my heart.
The lieutenant looks at the padlock. He didn't hear you asking. You were quiet enough. A minute or so of mauling away at the lock has led to no success. The pry bar in your hand is giving you zero mechanical advantage.
I'm not as sturdy as you are. I have even less leverage.
The doors remain unchanged, closed with a padlock.
If you really think we should get in there, we need to find some other way. Yes, the pulsing base. An indication of junior delinquency.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you. A clue? You think our suspect is a seagull who's been defecating on unsuspecting jacket? Me neither.
You should still take it. As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? Some secrets are better left uncovered. Don't it occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore. Why? Why did you think about it? Look at your hands. They're covered in muck. Now you're just flicking that shit everywhere.